Hey, Fed here with another tip for you. I get a lot of questions in my line of work about recording guitar, particularly acoustic guitar, and there's lots and lots of ways to do it. And one of the things that comes up very often is the angle of the microphone, or microphones. If you've had any of my training before, you know I'm a big fan of recording with multiple mics. But the angle of the microphone on the guitar. And one of the things I recommend, in particular if you're recording in stereo or with two mics, is that there's one mic somewhere over here, generally in the area of the sound hole, the body, and another mic over here on the neck. And one of the things I say a lot about the neck mic is to start as at least a place to kind of work from at a 45-degree angle to the neck. And people get a little bit confused when I'm talking about it without illustrating it. So that's what I want to do in this video. So what I mean by 45 degrees is 45 degrees to the neck itself, to the surface of the neck. So I'll pick up a typical pencil condenser that I use to record acoustic guitar a lot. This happens to be the SE1A, one of my favorites for the money. And what I mean by 45 degrees is this would be 90 degrees. So if you're facing the neck straight on, perpendicular to the neck, that would be 90 degrees. If you're facing it this way, halfway to perpendicular, that's 45 degrees. So what I mean by that is take it from straight on and move it about halfway. So let's bring that down to the typical position that we're in when we're recording acoustic guitar. So here's the microphone, and there's 90 degrees straight on. And what I'm talking about with 45 is like this. So hopefully that'll give you a good idea what I'm talking about. I'll try to add a little shot of a Fett's eye view here to give you a little better idea what I'm talking about. And the other thing I generally do is I start parallel to the neck. So wherever the mic happens to be, it's kind of lined up on the same plane horizontally as the neck. Now you may end up having it up here or down here if it sounds better, but it's still, regardless of where you have it on the horizontal plane of the neck, it's still at a 45-degree angle to the surface of the neck. And the same thing applies if you're using a large diaphragm condenser mic too. So let's say you're using this mic here and you're recording the acoustic guitar. It doesn't matter how the diaphragm of the mic itself is oriented, but the angle of the mic would be the same. So here we're talking about a 45-degree angle to the neck, just like we were talking about when we were using that pencil condenser, rather than straight on or flat. So again, 45-degree angle to the neck, just like that. So that's the angle that I like to start with. And then of course you have to adjust to taste. You have to listen and readjust the microphone and maybe move it a little less or a little more from that 45-degree angle, or move it up or down on the horizontal plane as we talked about before. But the other question I get from people a lot is, well, why the angle? What's the whole point of angling the microphone on the guitar? Why don't you just stick it in front of the source, right on it, straight in front of it, and pick up the sound as it's coming out? And there's two reasons for the 45-degree angle, or any angle for that matter. So this is a cardioid condenser microphone, and cardioid means it only has one polar pattern, which is a directional cardioid pattern. And one of the characteristics of a cardioid mic is as you move it closer to the source, you get more and more bass pickup from it, an artificially pronounced bass. That's called proximity effect. And if you're straight on and you're a few inches away from the guitar, you're going to get a lot of bass out of that microphone. And it might be more than you want, especially from something like this with a large wooden body that's generating a lot of low frequencies, around 250, 350 cycles. So by angling the mic, you're changing the mic's bass response. So as you turn away from directly on, or 90 degrees on, you actually get less and less bass. So that's an automatic tone control at the source without ever having to touch an EQ or anything like that to get the sound right. The other characteristic of any microphone is directionality. So when you're aiming straight onto the neck, you're picking up the sound that's coming straight off that area of the guitar, up around the neck, where you're going to get a lot of finger squeaks and fret noise and stuff, which can be a good thing. You don't want it to sound too sanitary. But as you angle the mic at 45 degrees, now you're picking up a lot more of what's coming off the body and the sound hole. and you tend to get a much better blend of the top and the bottom ends of the guitar by angling that mic in a different direction. So that's the directionality of the mic. So between that and the proximity effect, you are controlling the sound of the acoustic guitar an awful lot just by angling that mic at 45 degrees. So there's also another mic over here if you're recording in stereo, and I'm not going to get into detail about that right now. But that's the whole point of taking a mic to record acoustic guitar if you're pointing at the neck and tilting it at about a 45-degree angle as a starting point. The only other thing I'll mention here is I usually like to start with the mic aiming about the 12th fret. So instead of it being way up the neck or way down the neck further towards the body, I usually start right around the 12th fret. And again, based on the guitar, the player, the style, and a lot of other things, you're going to want to move it in a slightly different place, but that's a really, really good place to start. So that's the 45-degree angle, and why the hell should I care? So if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe to my YouTube channel at youtube.com/azaleamusic. And also, you can find all of my courses. If you just can't get enough of this kind of stuff, you can find all of my recording, mixing, and mastering classes at azaleamusic.com/programs. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. In my line of work, I get a lot of questions about recording guitar, particularly acoustic guitar. And there's lots and lots of different ways to do it, but one of the things that I end up, talking to people about, let's try that again. So much for my mic. Oh well, ouch. That hurt. Okay, well, I guess we'll be recording with another mic on the next session.